As mankind continues its foray into outer space, our goals are beginning to change. We are not merely looking to explore the cosmos anymore. Instead, we are hoping to eventually find a new and more sustainable home. But is that possible? Are we really switching from space exploration to space development? Keep watching as we attempt to answer this very question. So let's get started. First off, when can we start space development activities? NASA's current space exploration program involves developing its own heavy lift transport system, finding investors for its launch requirements, running a progressive space station in low Earth orbit, and working on developing a range of robotic spacecraft. Plus, it's also planning to land payloads on the moon soon, along with occasionally sending one of us Earthlings up to cislunar space and the moon as well. Now this is where things get kind of tricky. The agency's ambitious hopes include establishing a lunar base, as well as visiting the one and only Mars. And the agency obviously can't really start space development activities until and unless it forms permanent bases and facilities first. According to current plans, this phase would only begin at some point in the mid-2030s. So yeah, while the very real threat of climate change may be looming large, we don't really have the option to fly away and set up base somewhere else just yet. Next, space exploration is being carried out by robotic spacecraft at the moment. So what exactly are we doing right now? Well, using the robotic spacecraft, we're looking to map and find out as much as we can about the surface of the moon, Mars, asteroids, Venus, and the rest of the solar system. This program is mostly determined and authorized by the Congressional Spending Authority. One of the main justifications given by NASA is that some of its programs are currently dominated by science. This means the science at the International Space Station by the Android spacecraft, some of which actually support and advance astronomy, like the world-famous Webb telescope. Apart from this, it's also observing the planet Earth as well as investigating the environment of space. All these super important scientific efforts come under the term space exploration. Now, obviously, this kind of exploration is focused on supporting the future human operations in the void above. Moving on, the next space program has to focus on space development. While exploring the universe may be good enough for now, our next phase has to not only include space development, it has to focus on it. These activities and missions will and should be carried out by both governments as well as private companies. In fact, private companies will almost definitely have an increasing share of the action. This is vital because as far as the moon and Mars are concerned, enough exploration has been done, and we believe that we can actually start the development of those worlds in a few select locations. And obviously, this will allow us to carry out more detailed exploration and surveys in the relatively unknown parts as well. So, space development will help with our current investigations. Okay, so you need to understand how space development is different from the current NASA program. Basically, human operations in space, in and beyond the orbit of the Earth, will expand, and we'd have to launch many heavy and complex payloads to initiate and support these activities. The true goal of this program will be to extend human activities beyond this tired old planet and form bases and facilities in space and on other planets or planetary surfaces. Right now, this would include the moon, the red planet, and some large asteroids. This would mean the use of reusable crews, cargos, and tanker vehicles. What this also implies is that there will be exponential growth in our space activities and businesses, and all this wouldn't remain at a fixed plateau dictated by federal budgets alone. We'll also have to develop and operate infrastructure to support our operations. And don't worry, this doesn't mean that current space activities will be replaced. In fact, they'll be augmented. We'd like to make it absolutely clear that the current exploration program is essential for this next phase, and starting off with space development would only help this because of the robust human presence in multiple locations on Earth. And now, what exactly do these activities entail? Most importantly, these activities will involve creating safe and radiation-free habitats for human crews and other workers, as well as conducting the construction, investigative research, and other operations on planetary surfaces. This will be done by producing usable volatile materials such as water and carbon compounds, and from them, breathable air and rocket propellant. All this will obviously require an efficient and well-oiled transport system with propellant depots, both on the surface and in orbit. Plus, we'll also be using a bunch of vehicles and in-space craft, such as massive Mad Max-style tankers and cargo and crew vehicles. The in-situ minerals that we find should be used by our bases, and this would reduce the number of supplies needed from Earth, so the equipment needed to find and use these materials needs to be developed and brought to the site soon after establishment. Plus, we need to develop agricultural techniques to reduce dependency on food from Earth, and we'll also have to recycle pretty much everything, including the inedible parts of plants. A lot of research and development is still needed to support long-term life. We need to figure out how much to manage the abrasive lunar and Martian dust that's a threat to both human and machine health, as well as figure out the requirements of human presence in low low-gravity environments. What's more, we'll have to develop analysis tools for use at Mars or lunar science bases, so that sample analysis won't require expensive, time-consuming, and hectic trips back to Earth. In short, if we smartly design a base and plan everything out, we can greatly expand and extend the scientific investigation in the great outdoors. This would, in turn, open up new avenues and fields. If you ask us, it's a win-win situation. Next up, this would require more reliability and backup transport options. If we manage to form a robust lunar or Mars base, we'd also need to have an alternate means to return to orbit in case our vehicle fails. Redundant systems will be needed in each and every vehicle to save members from potential disasters, such as crew capsules with their own propulsion. Rescue vehicles will need to be set and ready to go in case some humans are stranded away from the base. The bases themselves will need to have a large supply of food and other life support equipment in case a crew misses a potential return flight opportunity for whatever reason. Apart from this, we'll have to form medical aid facilities on these bases so that we can ensure the safety and good health of our astronauts. And finally, space development needs to be more efficient if we're going to enable a sustained long-term presence in outer space. Mission supporting development should minimize cost as much as possible. The number of vehicles transporting necessary equipment should be low, and it should not increase the required limit. Money and time are of the essence here. Unfortunately, flags and footprints type missions aren't really efficient because not only do they provide the crew with a very limited amount of time for surface operations, but they also often raise the risk by minimizing the vehicle redundancy level. This is because of the incredibly high cost of the non-reusable vehicles typically employed in such mission designs. Plus, it should be noted that developing giant expendable rockets is not in our interest at all. The expenses spent on these can take away funding that is needed for actual important space development. There's also a need for urgency at the moment. We cannot delay these plans any longer because our planet is currently facing a bunch of dangerous and threatening problems. The super frightening climate crisis is upon us. Various countries are constantly at war with each other. We could potentially be hit by asteroids and comets, and there are even fears that some terrorists may develop synthetic infective agents. Right now, human civilization and life exist only on Earth. To protect our home, we absolutely need to have a robust human presence in space as soon as possible. This could help us provide a large and clean energy source via space solar power, and even enable the diversion of dangerous asteroids. And future settlements are also going to depend greatly on this space development program. We could have backup locations to survive in case some kind of catastrophe strikes Earth. So yeah, we definitely need to take a more proactive and smart approach when it comes to this. The survival of our species may depend upon whether or not we make the right moves and plan every step of the way. Currently, NASA is showing absolutely no urgency, and that needs to change right now. And that's a wrap for this video. What are your thoughts on the current space exploration program? What do you think NASA needs to do? Please let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Goodbye for now, and see you in the next one.